Greetings, listeners. Usually I bring you weekly updates from our intrepid crew deep in the thralls of their adventures in the void. Today, however, we will be visiting somewhere our spacers likely will never travel. Top secret, meeting location, Epsilon. The powers that be only gather here if absolutely necessary, but one such necessity is the discovery of a new planetary body and the subsequent decision about who gets to do what with it. When they gather, it is in the utmost secrecy to prevent any ne'er-do-wells from ever impeding on their dire business as it is conducted. And so we will join them today at their top secret meeting space. Within these halls, technomagic can be felt thrumming through the air and seen bouncing from wall to wall in gregarious teal beams. These beams mean no harm. In fact, they only disarm and disengage any weaponry, all to protect the sacred negotiation which takes place in these hallowed halls, to protect the worlds that home billions. You hear a raspy but determined voice beginning to clear their throat as attendees shuffle into their seats. You hear the vorpal thwum of portals as each makes their way through and begins to move towards the center meeting space. One by one, you file through the hallways and tech beams, voluntarily stripping yourselves of your considerable power to sit amongst each other as equals in democracy. Go on, Allied forces, find your seats.
Um, Alright, which way do I go? Left or right? Well, up or down, I suppose.
Go ahead and go up to your left, and as you begin proceeding, and you go right from there, you'll see Lady Odessa is waiting for you on the other side of the tech beam.
Hello!
Hello. She holds her hands out over the beam.
Oh, right, yes. And quickly take off and pass over a set of pearls from around my neck that are fairly essential to me being able to attend this meeting, holding my breath as I do so.
She takes the pearls and takes a step back just to allow you through the beam. And she hands you them back.
Thank you.
Of course. Everyone else, you may proceed as long as you don't have any essential technologies on you that will impede you if they stop functioning for a moment.
What are the size and shape of these beams?
They're from floor to ceiling and they're teal in color, moving back and forth through the walls, phasing from lighter to darker on the edges. And as you, if you pass through, they just form around your shape.
Oh, gotcha. Um, I guess so. I can't like turn into a spider and like. Oh, if I'm a spider, I don't have any magic on me, right? Because it like would mold with my body.
It'll just unspider you when you cross through.
That's fine. So I shape into a tiny spider and then I walk through.
Okay. You all see Empress Indina standing before the technological beams, and then in a poof, they just disappear, and a moment later, reappear on the other side.
I'm never gonna get used to those. Take my seat on the far side.
You find your magic is disarmed, but otherwise you are perfectly fine.
If we could have been moved for now, tech issues, obviously.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so when I arrive, I come with a accompaniment of about 12 others, and I come up to the barrier and I kind of make a big huff about ugh again, and I do this big whole ceremony of like taking off my sword, putting aside my pole arm, removing a pistol, like all this stuff, and like taking all of these weaponry and handing them to my servants and shooing them away. And when it's all said and done, I've just got like basically decorative armor on that is barely even covering me because I also want everybody to see the very shiny, polished scales of my body as I do a little flex, get a nice little stretch in, and then cross the barrier to join this whole procession.
You are
Where's
absolutely.
the emote to roll your eyes?
I'm just really disgusting over here.
You are
I want to
absolutely
angry
the
people.
object of everyone's attention as you make your entrance.
Yes, it makes me smile.
As everyone takes their seats, you see the woman who had begun speaking in the first place stand again. Greetings, Allied forces. This announcement marks the official beginning of today's meeting. Let the record show this meeting is taking place on star date 1076971.051, location Epsilon, Lady Odessa of the Hegemony of Man, present and officiating. The tall tiefling woman, clearly referring to herself, pauses and glances around the room as though she's waiting for the possibility of an interruption, insurrection. But seeing there is none, she continues. I see many familiar faces. Welcome once again to the Intergalactic Municipality Division of Resource Acquirement Committee. Today, we are here to discuss celestial entity Oscar Alpha, codename Aoa. If you have not had the time to read the brief, allow me to get straight to the point. The violet-skinned tiefling gestures to the neon green hexagonal display whirling in the center of the table betwixt you all. It shifts and alters in response, forming into the massive quadrupedal creature crawling along through the ether. A smooth surface appears to coat its spine, upon which particulate matter seems to settle and create an atmosphere, and you watch as the first breath of life lurches atop this hulking, mobile monster. Aoa is a massive world turtle, bigger than High Terra and with twice as many inhabitants, and the potential to house double that number if colonized properly. However, because Object Aoa is in an infant state, it lacks sentience as we know it, meaning for the purpose of today's discourse, it will be treated as an uncultivated planetoid. The tiefling gestures towards the hologram once again, causing it to zoom out abruptly. Aoa is currently a Tier 2 celestial object with the possibility of becoming Tier 1. According to preliminary scans, evolutionary advancement seems to be Lambda level. Without interference, it would likely take thousands of years before Aoa becomes a viable resource to this committee, during which time the chance for outside, unmitigated interference skyrockets, and we lose the potential for those valuable resources. Further, Aoa is currently ambling between planets Martax and Sol on the space border between Lakshay and the hegemony of man. While this endures, Empress Indina and I, and she looks over and gestures to you, Indina, we will keep our planetary leaders in line regarding any illegal seizure of resources from an as yet unofficial source. However, there is only so much we can do before space pirates notice Aoa and begin to attempt to ransack it for themselves. The strange ambling movement path of Aoa causes it to tread dangerously close to and through the dead magic zone where, as we all know, ships, planets, celestial bodies, all alike, are prone to completely disappearing. Aoa has not succumbed to this yet, but the edges of the dead magic zone are increasing in size every day, and a minor miscalculation could turn catastrophic. It is the aim of this committee today to decide the course of action we should take regarding celestial object Aoa, and how best to divide the flourish of resources that we may uncover. A very small team of my best has gone aboard, keeping a wide berth of the locals, looking to transmit as much data as possible so we can begin to make decisions. They're risking their lives for this mission. Thank you for your attention, my fellow committee members. I yield the floor to you now for this discussion. And Odessa sits down.
Well, first, might I say that was an absolutely wonderful speech. Thank you very much for that. That was lovely as always. I always enjoy your speeches very much.
Thank you, Ro.
Um, First matter, of course, I'd like to decide is what exactly are we considering in terms of who gets what resources, or what share of all resources everyone is getting, or is it what we're here to figure out? No?
Here we go.
I suppose, Scion, the answer is a bit of each. Should we, at first, even send further teams upon the surface of Aoa, or just the single?
Well, if the thing that you want is to keep this safe, I can help with that, most certainly. I don't know what resources such a pitiful thing could possibly really contain, but if it is of the interest to this committee, I would be open to protection contracts. We all know that I certainly could deliver on such things.
Well,
Pirates would never touch it.
if it's capable of housing some form of life, even basic or otherwise, then surely there must be at least something there worth of value, and at the very least it might be terraformable for other, sort of, what's the word? Commerce? Yes, commerce.
Terraformation would be possible, but not without interfering with the life forms already making their way aboard the surface of Aoa. Dr. Purple, thank you for joining us. You have stumbled upon an intergalactic meeting of the minds who are now determining the fate of World Turtle Aoa. There's that too. Protective custody, you say? And you hear Minerva chirp up. Am I to believe that you would protect us, Lord Citizen?
Certainly, why not?
What resources do you have that could offer protection so far away from your home planet of Drez?
I have some of the very best ships,
You have
guns,
acquired some, certainly.
armaments that certainly could be deployed around this turtle, not even necessarily requiring to be on the surface. No pirates would stand up to any divisions that I would send.
And, such might just be a similar story for anything that we might be involved in. On our side of things, we are quite fond of water, and if that particular turtle is only containing such a low level of civilization on it, then certainly they haven't really struck deep sea exploration yet. meaning that we can go in there without even interfering with the locals, and we can mine for resources and maybe a little scouting, you know?
A Nautilid presence would go largely unnoticed, though I'm afraid there isn't much water yet upon the surface of Aoa. There is some gathered among the shell. Not grand amounts, but still, that is a possibility.
If not much is known about, I can't do this voice. If not much is known about this turtle, maybe for now because of its location, Minerva and I could investigate further and relay the information to others since it is so close to our borders.
Empress, do you have the ships to spare? Your offer is kind, but we would not want to leave your borders unguarded.
If we were to enter in a truce, six are that how you pronounce your name?
Sorry, yes.
Um, you are so far away. Maybe if you could extend your protection um, into our province, I could relay our ships to Seoul.
Cesar's eyes kind of glisten a little at this, and he nods and goes, "Certainly, this could be part of the agreement for protecting such a valuable floating speck through space."
And for your protection, whatever we find, the three of us could maybe figure out how best to use it.
The size alone of Aoa is beyond what any one of our empires may hope to be able to explore on its own. Far beyond, twice, as I said, High Terra's citizenry. And as we all know, High Terra houses the most of any other planet in the verse. Now, the second most.
How is such a new space already so populated?
That is an excellent question that we're looking to find the answer to. However, we are not entirely certain that finding answers will come without interacting with locals, which, as we all know, not recommended for lambda tier planetoids.
Um, well, a question that the locals might be unable to answer for a very long time due to their technological level is what of the turtle itself? Where on earth did it come from? Are there parent turtles? Is there another turtle dimension that we are not aware of?
There may yet be, Scion, as far as an alternate dimension or another dimension of turtles. Perhaps this is the first I've ever seen an infant world turtle. I've seen once the bones of an ancient one, but never a living one.
Hmm.
You see Yelena, who has been quiet up until now and just sort of fiddling with the corners of her golden and orange dress, kind of finagling with her thumbs, gather the courage to sit up straight and speak. Well, perhaps we should not interfere with it at all.
Oh no, that's not an option. Better us look over it than anyone else. You know,
You
there's
what now?
Well, if we interfere with it, we will only take it off its designated path.
And let the pirates. Get it?
There's the
Filthy
potential
vermin.
for protection without interference.
Yelena, as beautiful as your heart is in this, it is certainly a bit misplaced, don't you think? There is no way such an entity is going to travel around with this much interest already generated and not be interfered with.
You may be correct. Still, we do not have to be the ones doing the interfering.
Not
You
us,
would
then who?
prefer pirates?
On that score, and Gregor stands up and kind of moves the chair backwards behind himself, kind of stands up all officiously. I believe I have the largest fleet of any of the assembled nations, and I would like to propose that I am the sole defender and security of this world turtle. And of
That's
course,
preposterous.
I would of course be expecting a large fee for my work.
You're ridiculous.
Ah,
I have the ships.
while you do indeed have the most sizable army of ships, Harold Grigor, certainly. Certainly we can reach some sort of understanding that is more mutually beneficial to everyone at the table.
I do believe that it is dwarven skilled hands that have also made all of your fleets as well.
Many. Dwarves are the
Now,
best craftsmen in the verse, we all know it.
it would be interesting if you were all to guard this precious resource with dwarven skill objects, and then take an equal portion of the money for yourselves. It baffles me, to be quite honest.
I'm very sure that if you'd like an exchange in our Nautilus technology for traversing the waters of your own planets and your own empire, we would be certain to strike up a trade deal with you and discuss such matters. Yes.
You talk too fast.
I'm sorry. If it would be agreeable, we could trade with you for ocean exploration technology for your own planets in exchange for your service. Yes?
Well, when you say it like that, like a normal person, say, um, I suppose some form of monetary transaction could be arranged.
Scion, you give him too
Gregor.
much credence.
Gregor, you know you're going to get a good monetary consideration in this whole project. The attempt to be the sole controlling entity in the protection, that is a level of hubris I didn't expect from you.
You didn't expect for me to have a decent amount of hubris sitting at this table.
That level, it seems high even for you.
This is a large amount of resources we're talking about here.
We
And
don't
I don't.
know that. We just know there are many people aboard, and unless it is your intent to enact slavery upon this population, we don't know what the resources are.
Gregor kind of sits down. He feels like he said he doesn't really need to interact with anyone. He's stated his point here.
Are there any more actual reasonable offers?
Mine still stands. And in my offer, of course, this would mean an increase in contracted goods exchanges with Gregor's wonderful conclave.
Grigor, while you have the resources, I must wonder if you have the time. Particularly, Odessa gestures to the empty chair beside him, with our accompaniment not here. And you all know that Odessa speaks of the missing member of the committee, the Holy Eva Ra, who were not invited to this meeting by a unanimous vote from the rest of you. Are you not busy enough protecting your borders from those hungry ravens? Forgive me.
The pernicious to be sure, as I believe I've already said, I have a fleet large enough to protect all of my borders and still be able to consolidate enough ships to protect this giant reptile or whatever.
Potentially. But with that, could you not perhaps interfere in the conflict that's overtaking Dres, and perhaps instead, Empress, leaving your border a little less heftily influenced, you, being closer, could assist. That way, Harold, you wouldn't have to travel quite so far and put such strain on all of your mighty ships.
Well, perhaps instead of arguing who gets to do what, perhaps we should sign ourselves up for roles and remind each other what we're best at. For example, if if the Emperor's being closer would mean they're best at overseeing defense directly, but they don't have as high quality, or perhaps not judging the quality of your ships, obviously, but perhaps not as multitudes of ships. Then perhaps Grigor, kind of more of an ambassador, could give Nadina the ships, and then Nadina can more securely defend and be closer. You know, these sorts of things, sharing of resources and all this sort of thing.
What an excellent idea. You see
Since
nods going about the table.
dwarves are already being very generously trading their ships with other nations. Anyway, we can carry on doing this.
All of the ships that have already been traded, I believe there was a very pretty penny paid for them. So if I were to have the generous feeling to share some more of my ships in order to aid in the defending of some borders, then of course I would expect payment for that as well.
Payment that could be received through what you take, or what your people receive from Aoa, certainly. You cannot expect the others gathered here to Grigor.
I have my terms. I am
Mm.
open to negotiation.
It sounds like you want to go
Ish.
to Abiora.
I feel things might be getting a bit tense at this table. Is is there food here? here? Do we have, will we have a tea break? What?
As you ask for food, actually, on the table there are small coasters which press into the table, disappear for a moment, and resurface with your choice of beverage in a delightful little glass container.
Oh, right. And Sam just starts sipping away awkwardly and just eyeing around the rest of the table.
Ooh, sugar water, my favorite.
Indeed, everyone has their favorite. You also all have a data pad that lists sort of a live ticker situation from Lady Odessa's tracking party that's gone aboard Aoa. As she said, they've sort of landed atop the shell, but very far away from civilization. So it's giving you nutrient readings from the crust and what the atmosphere is made of. Anybody who wants to try and look at those can roll for me.
Oh,
Okay, what would we roll?
Since not everybody has data, just roll me intelligence.
A save or a check?
A check, please.
One second, let's get my card sheet up.
Okay, so Scion Row, you see several normal things for building an atmosphere, uh, key components for being able to breathe for non-aqueous creatures. Empress and Dina, you see more of the same, as well as many components that would be useful for your people for nutrition. A lot of healthy and organic things. Lord Sithra, you notice that there is gold alloy and another specific mineral in Aoa's crust that is particularly useful for building dwarven maul ships. In fact, it is perhaps the most useful resource and one of the most difficult to get a hold of.
Then, yeah, I think that Lord Sithra kind of smiles to himself again, um, and kind of sits forward a little to get the attention of the committee and says, "Look, there's certainly a great deal that the Dwarven Conclave can do for this committee in terms of being a part of this world turtle. However, what is your title? Sorry,
Harold is Grigor's title.
Harold. Harold Grigor, I know you to be a shrewd and intelligent man, and you are not going to do an overextension of your military resources, such as to send an entire battalion or more to protect this turtle. That would be, well, unwise. However, your people are some of the best skilled metallurgists in the entire verse. There is absolutely no reason you don't get to have some very key role here still. Both in supplying such metallurgic components in the terms of ships that we will use to protect this place, as well as sending individuals to our lovely little turtle here, and getting your own set of boots on the ground.
Yes, yes. This is wonderful. Everyone remembering everyone's positives, constructive collaborations, which is why we're all here. Yes, yes.
Don't mention the minerals that I've seen. I'm just redirecting this conversation.
You're the only one who's noticed them.
I suppose it would be easier to play ball, I suppose, Fine, you can all have your ships.
Oh, wonderful. We're getting somewhere. Right. Was there a particular itinerary or agenda? Now that matter is sorted? Yes. What's next? What should we look at now?
Well, perhaps the ever so illustrious Empress Indina and I should re-discuss this idea of adjusting our current border interests for the purposes of protection, the alignments of our various troops, as it were, to, of course, free up the Lakshay region in this turtle situation.
Border realignments.
More troop realignments, but the borders need to be agreeable for troop realignment in the purposes of protection.
How brave of you to address, Sithzar.
You don't get very far in life without being brave.
And what borders would you see realigned?
I don't know if it needs to be officially realigned so much as opened, allowing for movement. If I am going to help step up and protect Nindina's interests, it'll be hard to do that if I'm still restricted in space in regards to where I can and cannot be.
Martax is only restricted space because of its closeness in proximity to the dead magic zone. It is not a personal offense, my friend, I assure you. And Odessa waves a hand at you, and as if she's trying to convince you pleadingly, with desperation, that she's not personally offending you.
Oh, certainly. I am sure that it is a certainly deadly region we all need to be respectful of. As such, we have to be able to skirt around it. It'll be easier to assist in protecting the interests of all the parties at this table if I'm able to move through the hegemony without conflict in order to help orient our resources, our troops, our protection.
Um, Perhaps as well, if I might bring up another small matter, and if this seems like an inopportune time, then it can certainly wait. But there are some planets underneath the jurisdiction of the Nautilids, of Myken and kind, that house dwarves, and their reports tell me, and these are just reports, but reports tell me from trusted sources though, that they're getting a little uppity. It would probably be best for this alliance and this mutual overseeing of the turtle if such uppityness were perhaps quelled and would better allow the Nautilid Empire to do their jobs. More concerning Sir Grigor, I believe.
Which word did you use to describe me and my kind? If you may repeat.
Well,
Say what you said. If you have confidence in your words, surely you can repeat them.
oh, Yes, I might. Maybe. Um, uh, a, a bit, um, uppity. Yes?
Well, that's completely fine.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
You
Oh.
see Minerva just sort of scooting closer to Yelena, uncomfortably.
Grigor picks up a giant tankard of dwarven ale and just starts like chugging.
Good. Well, perhaps the details of that can be smooth over later, but good. That's reassuring. Thank you very much.
Sithsar, this is why you do not bring up border disputes at these meetings. We'll always head here.
I don't know if what Sion Row has very gently raised as a concern really qualifies as a border dispute. If it is a need to manage interaction for the purposes of readdressing certain skills and resources towards this turtle.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, it's not exactly to do with borders. It's more to do with uh, citizen citizen satisfaction within one's own borders. That being of the dwarven citizens. But if such things are not appropriate at this meeting, then another time, perhaps more for Grigor and I to settle ourselves. But thank you very much.
No, Scion, thank you for trusting the committee with such issues. You are correct. This should be the place where such things are spoken about.
See, kind of a little bit of a wiggle in their seat as Sion feels like validated by the compliment. And it doesn't say anything else and just continues to sip the beverage.
Yelena and Minerva seem to be having a silent side conversation and occasionally looking at Grigor.
And I maybe detect that to some degree as to like the what exactly maybe is going on there.
Sure. It appears that Yelena is whispering to Minerva, so what would we roll to have you try and eavesdrop? I don't even know what skill that would be. You know what? We're just
I'm
gonna.
either insight or perception, maybe.
That's what I was gonna go with was perception, so let's go with it.
Okay,
See if you can pick up on her whispers.
do me good. Do me good. Ooh, 18.
Yes, okay. So you can pick up on Yelena asking Minerva essentially for help. Should I say something more? I truly don't think we ought to interfere. It's going to. What if the turtle is on a crash course for the planet Sol? And she seems to be concernedly whispering to Minerva about not interfering with the turtle at all. And Minerva appears to be listening and nodding, but is not responding back to her.
I think Cesar will take a drink of their beverage, which is in like a goblet, a very short-stemmed, thick-bodied goblet that is this sort of dark blue liquid that has like red swirls in it. Um, it is poisonous to most other creatures, but it is a delicious, soothing sort of tea-esque thing for the I can't remember what species I am. The snake people.
Nakini.
It's terrible. Yes. Takes a sip and then puts it back down and just very gently over more to Nadina maybe than anybody else, possibly also with trying to get Odessa in the direction of their conversing, says, "Is this turtle sentient? Does it converse?"
Not yet. Someday, it shall develop the sentience of one such as, well, perhaps even you or I. But for our purposes, we are to treat it as just an uncultivated planetoid. It lacks sentience as we know it, and it would take so very many eons for it to develop that for our purposes, we feel it would be better to consider it unsentient.
As a druid, I can kind of like communicate with nature. Would I be able to like? Do I have a feeling that I could be able to go to this planet and maybe actually commune with it in a certain way?
Yeah, that's the direction I'm
Absolutely.
trying to push you. Yes.
Um, Look, all of you from afar can say I have ships and I can do this, but this turtle is in my territory currently and is threatening pirates and other entities to come into my territory and go to this. Do you really think I could keep those at Black Post at bay? Let me and my kind see if we can commune with this planet entity, whatever you call it, and see what we can come up with.
Well, also, it's apparently moving. Yes. Is it willingly pushing itself along the universe, or is it more sort of just being dragged along by the expansion of space and time, sort of thing? Because if it's the former, would there be any way, perhaps, to redirect or stunt its movement without causing disaster to the locals? Yes.
That is a wonderful idea. Moving them out of the dead magic zone would certainly reduce
Certainly.
the danger to all of us in our pursuit of its interesting resources and well-being.
What's our knowledge on Newtonian gravitation?
Oh.
Individual and varied?
In character.
I mean, out of character, I'm fine, but like in character,
Oh.
do we know how like gravity affects planets, and like can we like systematically see if it's like being affected by the nearby masses around it, or if it's kind of going on its own
Ooh.
course?
Can we pull up like a wire grid of the universe and look for gravity wells?
Yes, I will let you do that, absolutely. At the level that you are, you're the political leaders of your respective planetoids and sections of the universe. You would absolutely have access to that kind of technology and be able to make those kinds of studies and inquiries. You might not get the results immediately, but you can definitely begin the cogs moving and get those questions asked.
Yeah, but even if like even with a very limited amount of source, it should be pretty easy to see if it's moving on its own accord or if it's being affected by nearby
Yes.
planets and stars and stuff.
Yep, and when you can see as Lady Odessa pulled up earlier and the sphere grid turned into the large body of the turtle, it appeared to be moving with flippers. It's moving itself.
What is it pushing on?
Dark matter.
Yep.
There we go.
That's one mighty fine propulsion system it's got there.
Would be interesting to study it.
Giant turtles as ships. It's a
Yes,
novel
right.
idea.
But I agree that we should, before we start excavating, we should definitely ask, or have more of an attempt to ask, and not just treat this as some unliving planet.
Oh, no. Well, if to use an analogy I learned from I believe some of the humans I've known in my lifetime. If we were to treat that way to every single anthill and never research any of them without asking, we would never have gotten anywhere.
Yes, but
Although I
maybe
don't know what an anthill is.
I've talked to many ants, and they prefer you not to disturb their home.
Every ant would prefer you to not disturb their home. Every dog and whoopala and every creature would prefer you to not disturb their home. That is, I don't think, of interest to us at this meeting. We should probably disturb this turtle. Move it out of the dead magic zone if possible. It is a very dangerous place for it. Things disappear in there all the time. If we want to utilize this, allowing it to maintain its course, could result in it just vanishing one instance and being lost to us forever.
I could perhaps try to convince it to change course.
Do you think you can reason with a being that will not gain sentience for thousands of years?
I have reasoned with far less.
It is an infant.
And I look over at Gregor.
Gregor looks back with just a hideous scowl.
I don't know if anyone at the table is capable of blushing except Grigor, but at least 3 people are in the physical throes of the act of blushing, even if they cannot.
I think Cicera is in the act of almost choking on their beverage.
Gregor's hand is just like hovering on the hilt of his sword, and his hand is like shaking violently.
Sion Rue is visibly uncomfortable. Sipping beverage, ever sipping beverage.
Regardless, this seems like a fairly agreeable pursuit to get this turtle out of the dead magic zone. And Nandina seems to be the only one of us with the charming skills to possibly achieve such things.
But how
I
do you
say we try.
propose we do so, Lord Cicera? We
We'll give
cannot
it a
send
try.
our ships into the dead magic zone. They will not run.
Not ships built on magic. Ships built entirely on machinery will, and I am sure that Gregor's illustrious mechanics would be up to such a task.
Mundane ships for such a large task. Do you have any idea of the scale of this turtle? It's been described as bigger than a lot of the planets in our own empires. In fact, some empires themselves. This is a magnitudinous object flying through space. I doubt mundane ships without magic would be able to hold such a thing out of the dead magic zone.
The ship wouldn't be pulling it, as I understand Nandina's suggestion is that they might be able to lure, redirect, convince. It gets the turtle to change its course more or less under its own volition.
Sounds like a good way to have a bunch of materials destroyed being pushed aside by a giant turtle.
And where would you send it?
Scion Rowe, I know that you might not have the best pilots in the universe, but trust that there are those of us who could certainly fly those ships.
Certainly. Well, I know the editing is perhaps not my people's forte because we normally reside in the ocean. But something I will mention is that when it comes to creating technology that is not purely for militaristic purposes, we are fairly, we know our place. And such technology would most likely be required in these ships, mundane or otherwise, and there is no technology that exists that would convince a non-sentient, massive turtle to turn around.
Oh, we don't want it to turn around. We just want it to be in a safer spot for us to further research.
I just
Agreed.
Just the idea of wasting materials, potentially, to have them destroyed in a fruitless effort, it does not sit with me. But if there's an assured, or at least mostly assured way that the plan will work, and that the resources will not just be thrown into the magic no zone, then fine.
Old Grigor, what would you say would be the difficulties around crafting some ships that are propulsed not on magic in order to enter this space, so that we could potentially give our wonderful Scion Row the correct scope of this endeavor?
Well, our craftsmen have been taught how to create some older models of ships that maybe aren't so magically advanced, but are certainly technologically up to spec. Um, I suppose it wouldn't be a problem getting a few of the old hands to make some new ships.
We wouldn't need many, just a few, and we could sit them inside of a larger carrier that would be able to traverse the space much more fast, at a higher speed, get it to the edges of the dead magic zone before deploying its payload of these purely non-magical, mechanical ships, of which Empress Nadina would be riding, I'm assuming, as you, I perhaps would suggest to be the one to make contact. Yes.
Would you intend to go yourself?
Yeah. How
Yeah.
how much do we know of the people? What do they look like? What forms do they take? Are they bipedal, quadrupedal, septipedal, centipedal?
Is
Who
also
would...
non-pedal, please.
Oh, of course.
I shake my snake tail.
Pardon. But regardless of number or lack thereof of legs and limbs and eyes and all those sorts of things, who would be best ambassador purely based on physical resemblance?
My party has not ventured close enough to the locals yet to garner such information, but as soon as they know, I suppose we will, although they're under strict orders not to interact. But where shall we, if we are to go into the dead magic zone and chase Aoa down, where then shall we guide it to go? Certainly not towards the unclaimed lands where the Eva Ra might. Best if we keep it for farthest away as possible. I'm sure we all
Well,
agree.
there is a bridge of space separating out along the dead magic zone where, if we got the turtle there, I think that would be the closest. If it is moving between Martax and Sol. That would, however, Priestess Minerva, potentially put some pressure on you, as that is closer to your space. Would you be agreeable for this council's forces to be concentrated in that spot?
You see Minerva kind of pull away from her conversation with Yelena and refocus her attention to Sithzar. Well, I totally forgot what voice I gave her. Anyway, well, I can't say that I would be comfortable, Lord Sithazar, for such forces to be on my tiny slice of the verse, but I'm not certain
You
that I
would
see a.
have the rest of the dead magic zone protecting you, as it would basically be between the Council's forces, of which you, I'm assured, would probably have some participation in.
Certainly, but such a large entity, my people getting so dangerously close to such a thing.
Um,
I'm not certain it's entirely safe for us.
Wherever we put it, how's about we take communal custodial responsibility of the turtle, as it were, and in terms of either keeping it where it is or directing it in a safe area, wherever that may be, we all take equal part in our own ways in terms of providing resources so that no one is completely beholden or burdened with the task, regardless of the location of the turtle.
Certainly.
It has
I just
potential.
wanted to check with Minerva, make sure she would be okay with us potentially moving it further into what is more her doorstep, as it were. Redirecting it closer to Lakshay could be an option,
An
but they would
option.
have much more of the dark, dead magic zone to have to traverse, and it would be dangerous for a longer amount of time.
Perhaps it could be sent on perhaps a lap around the edges, far away from the Navion Ra, but instead of kept in one place, perhaps directed around the edge, or perhaps just not kept in one place. And since it's already been moving, and that's what the locals are used to, and keeping it moving through our own spaces, taking turns might be another option.
GM, how
Yes.
fast does this thing travel? I was under the assumption that it's going from Martax to Seoul at a, like, I mean, it's
Snail's
traveling,
pace.
but that the pace in that distance is small?
Very slow.
Uh-huh.
Extraordinarily slow. Yes.
Okay. So getting it to relocate to the edges of our space would take, like, eons.
It'll take a while. But
Yeah, okay.
also, there's Odessa speaks up and she hits a button on her data pad, which causes the holosphere to center on a large draconic skull floating in the center of space.
What?
There is a maw in the dead magic zone between Martax and Seoul. As far as we know, this maw is inactive, but that could change at any moment. We can't exactly go in and see. If Aoa interacts with the maw somehow or is pulled towards it, we don't know what the repercussions could be.
Always, never liked them.
No money for Grigor.
No, indeed.
For the first time, Grigor looks like genuinely slightly frightened and like vulnerable for a second.
We can't let the Iva Ra potentially interfere.
Not at any cost.
Yes, even it's lovely that even if we all have our different cultures and opinions and ways of doing things, that we can all agree on what not to do very quickly. Yes.
As As you look around the table, each of you hears the familiar sound of a portal activating.
I'm going to make the table pull up a schematic of the hegemony of man.
Okay. It will do that as soon as we return because we're going to take a quick break. Whee!
Of course, the portal opening comes before a break.
to our top secret meeting at location Epsilon. And our top secret committee members have just heard a portal noise. You hear the clack of metal meeting metal as talons scrape across the floorboards, and a familiar gate crosses the technomagical beams and into your shared space. As they take their seat at the table, eyeing all of you.
Do any of us recognize? Do we know the name?
You all know this is the High Chancellor of the Holy Ava Ra Empire. The one you specifically left out of your meeting is here.
Excuse me.
I want to look around the table very fast and see if there's anybody here who, other than being surprised, looks like smug or vindicated. As in, they fucking outed us.
Alright, you can roll insight and see what you see.
This is giving me very Maleficent to Aurora's birth type vibes.
19.
Alright, who are you looking at first? Are you looking at everybody?
I wanted to look at everybody. I guess my greatest suspicion might be Yelena, because they seemed to be the one most reluctant to be interfering. But I wanted to look at like everyone.
Yelena's eyes are widened and her ears are pulled backwards. She's not saying a thing. Her hands are knitted in her lap, and she seems somehow slightly more terrified than she has been this entire meeting.
Okay, and does anybody else look something other than surprised or scared?
Minerva doesn't look scared, but she also doesn't look shocked.
Okay.
Odessa, though, she also looks completely shocked, jaw dropped. The others, for Ro, you may say what they see of Ro.
Ro is very badly trying to hide discomfort. She's pulling a poker face. Her face screams, "This is fine," but her body screams, "This is absolutely not fine." She's fidgeting in her chair. Her hands are tapping against the edge of the beverage glass. Eyes glancing around everyone else's faces, except for the person who has very inopportunely taken the seat directly to the right.
Oof.
Someone you know only as High Chancellor, because they've never given anything other than their title, just High Chancellor.
For Dina, you mostly see like eyes widen. I'm not sure if this species can widen their eyes, but for what you assume is that eyes widen and then like almost immediately kind of like narrow to like a sigh and a sitting back in her seat as she kind of like does her little pincers like maniacal like Mr. Burns type of way.
Okay.
Grigor is just kind of got the look of fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off in his face, and it's not entirely like he's surprised, but maybe he just wasn't expecting them now.
Celestial object error. That was what your little meeting today was about.
Hi,
We haven't
Tara.
really gotten around to that yet.
I put Hi Tara on the table, by the way, just reminding you.
We were talking about other things first. We're currently on other matters.
Hmm. What was the determination?
It is no concern of yours. You weren't even supposed to be here.
Ah, well,
No, High Chancellor, you weren't meant to be here.
well, now that you are here, there's beverages on the table. Maybe get comfortable. But, we can just carry on with things. Yes.
You see their wings flourish out, which is an obvious display of a threat.
And yet I am here. Do you take issue with my
Has it checked?
presence, Harold Grigor?
I just, well, I don't think any of us expected you to turn up.
Careful there, High Chancellor. You are molting.
Indeed. Well. By all means, continue with your little meeting.
Once you leave, we will.
Sion looks deeply uncomfortable and is now like literally putting their face in their cup.
Cicera looks like as in this conflict situation wherein Dina and Grigor are kind of sort of in turns standing up to the High Chancellor. Cicera kind of like has this excited energy about them, where with like a sense of like a snake about to strike, like ooh ooh ooh, this is about to go down, kind of vibe.
You see the High Chancellor looking at their feathers and their fingertips, plucking at them individually, as if surveying the need for a manicure.
Celestial Object Iowa will be under Ava Ra control shortly.
You dirty birdie.
Well, considering, have you only arrived at the meeting to tell us this, or are we to be involved, or perhaps in any matter?
You have already been involved, not a lid.
Does Odessa respond to the High Chancellor's declaration that this is going to be controlled shortly?
Odessa has both of her hands on the table in front of her and appears like she's on the edge of her seat about to stand and maybe bang her fist at any moment, but something is holding her back.
Can I send Odessa a message? Since Odessa is the one that has forces on the ground and in the area, asking for confirmation scan of the region for any Avara ships.
Yeah, you absolutely can. How are
Yeah,
you
I want
going
to
to?
just very, very, very like subtly. I want to just private message to Odessa and say, "Can you confirm Avara in region?"
She messages you back that she's attempting to confirm that very thing right now.
Okay.
May I also use this thing? It's
You
not magic;
may.
it's a feature. Um, also to Lady Odessa, it's a lot more panic. Just being like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
Calm, Scion. Remain in your calm.
No. What do we do?
How did it find out? No, don't worry about that right now. Just remain in your calm. We will figure out something. Let Grigor dig his grave with the birds. And this is the first time you have ever heard Odessa be even slightly not politically correct, and it's only in her own head.
Sion is alarmed, but at the same time morbidly curious, and she keeps to herself once more.
Can Grigor kind of contact the Dwarven Conclave in any fashion at the moment, or is like communications kind of blocked from inside this kind of place?
So you would have contact with probably you have a staff, I'm sure, because you're all very important people. Each one of you probably has about, a dozen, like Lord Sithar just likes to bring them because he's fancy. But each one of you probably has a dozen people at your beck and call at any given time. You could probably get in touch with those people. Since you're sitting right beside them, they might be able to see your data pad though, because it's a text message situation.
Okay, I don't mind if people see.
Oh,
Um,
okay. There you go then.
Can I try and contact my staff and try and get them to get kind of in a position where they could then signal the Dwarven Conclave and start getting like flotillas of ships to start moving towards the World Turtle.
Oh yeah. I mean, traveling that way, it'll take them weeks to travel over that much space and to move that
Okay.
distance.
Okay. It's kind of defunct.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not they will not arrive in the moment.
Tell you what it's closer to, though. Area Rock.
What do I know about the combat prowess of these, like the High Chancellor?
You know that none of you got to be in your positions by being at all weak, and that many people have tried to kill you. It's a very regular occurrence in your life, so there are probably many people trying to kill these other individuals, and they likely have excellent ways of remaining alive, just like you.
I am going to. I'm an arch druid, so I don't need to use any verbal or somatic or material components as long as they don't cost money. So I'm just gonna like scratch my like pincers a little bit, and, like lower my antenna above my head, and while I'm doing that, I'm gonna cast freedom of movement on myself.
Ooh. Okay, I
Do
love
I
that.
notice this since Nindira is sitting right next to me? Do I notice that they're getting prepared?
I'm just scratching my head.
You notice their pincers move.
Okay, all right. I can't tell that they cast a spell. That's fine. I would like to use my tail, which I imagine I'm, Naga style, like I've got a lower body snake. I would like to use my tail to flicker at the 12 people that I brought with me, by the way, I'm going to remind you, who are standing basically on the other side of the barrier to prepare, just to get their attention and get them to take rank and be alert.
May I, if I'm casting spells now and looking back, but not that I could tell anyone else was, but I was planning to do this anyway, and this just encouraged me. This thing, if I may cast this.
You may.
To everyone at the table except the High Chancellor.
So we can definitely see you doing this, right?
Does it have? It has a material component, a somatic component, and a verbal component. It's gonna be difficult for you to do this without being noticed.
But it's got a range of 30 feet. Would I be able to perhaps excuse myself entirely?
You could excuse yourself, walk behind the barrier, although you know that if you step beyond those technomagical beams, any magic that you cast will be uncast. So you can't go beyond them.
Oh, darn it.
You could perhaps get up and start looking at the screens that are around the room. I mean, they are flickering information. It's all in the middle of the table, but if you just wanted to stretch your legs.
Thank you, DM, for helping me achieve this dream. Yes, I shall.
I mean, you're the most nervous person at the table. It makes sense that you would need to get up and pace to calm yourself down.
Oh, I'm not going that way, though. I'm going in the opposite direction of the Chancellor.
Pace towards the danger.
No. just gonna try and cast as subtly as I can. Don't have to roll anything to see if I can be subtle.
Yeah, okay. Roll stealth, and we'll roll. Can you roll it privately?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a stealth roll against their perception, and we'll see. Okay, cast your magic.
Okay. It lasts for 1 hour. I'm just gonna say hi, and everyone says like, that's a spell. Chancellor can't hear this. What do we do? This spell lasts for a while anyway. Just try not to make it obvious.
Oh, wonderful row. Thank you for this. Yes, Nindina and Grigor, what do we do?
I told you we should have left the turtle alone.
Oh, shut up.
We should find if the Aviora are investigating the turtle. And then, if so, hold the Chancellor hostage.
I can get in contact with a few people I have on the border with Aviera to see if they're mobilizing any ships.
That seems wonderful. Odessa, have you heard back?
There is an Avara presence. Larger than
Someone
my
say
group.
something. Someone say something out loud. We've all been quiet from our rounds. Chancellor, what's
So,
something?
High Chancellor, while you are here in this meeting about AOA, what do the Aviora want? What would this be?
We will be taking possession of Aoa shortly.
Why?
In order to study it under the Sepulchre Star.
Maybe also study then?
Once it is studied, we will dole out the necessary knowledge to the lower life forms.
Who decides what's necessary knowledge?
This council will, although this council's ability to make decisions has clearly been hindered.
Who is to say that you are the ones to be in control?
Who is to say that we are not?
Wasn't the whole point of this council being formed so that we could all decide on this sort of thing? Yes? Sion seems a lot more confident now that there's an exclusive group DM been made, basically.
Well, High Chancellor, perhaps we are the ones to say. And I would like to send a tail flick to my 12 and have them enter the room and take formation behind me.
They do so.
DM,
Mhm.
Grigor's hand goes up to his kind of chest and starts feeling around for something almost, as though for some sort of a item or something.
Mhm.
What could be done with that at the moment?
Oh, a lot of things. It could be utilized, it could be put on somebody. It entirely depends on what he wants to do with it. Could be utilized on himself, could try and put it on someone else.
Okay, I think Grigor will pull out an amulet of the beast from his jacket and slip it over his neck. After seeing the kind of stuff of Skithsar kind of move through the barriers, kind of getting the fact that stuff's away go down, And yeah, he puts on an amulet and his armor starts to kind of bend out and buckle.
And you see as Grigor begins to transform into something much larger and hairier than Grigor. Do you want to describe your transformation?
Telepathically, just Grigor, what are you doing? Grigor, what are you doing?
Cool guy shit. Yeah. Grigor's kind of heavy, thick dwarven armor that could survive magical cannon blasts. That's been specially made for him because he's the head of state. He needs to stay alive. Um, just kind of just pops straight off. And he grows about 5-6 feet. He becomes a hulking figure. Just covered in kind of viscous gunk as though he's just been born. Um, he's all hairy, and he's just got this kind of eldritch kind of snarl on his face with loads of kind of grisly, sharp teeth, and a snout that is kind of like about a foot long. He's just grossly proportioned and a very small boy.
Grigor is now a massive lycanthrope.
Ooh.
So you two are one with the beast.
Um, did Sion know about the, was this made aware to the council before Grigor was admitted as a member, or is this new to everyone at the table?
It's probably brand spanking new to everybody.
Oh, well.
Yeah, Grigor told no one about this and like the mental link or anything before it happened. All you guys heard was just a kind of, oh, and then he started going for the amulet.
Which has clearly upset the High Chancellor, who is tapping away furiously on his datapad, and his wings are kind of feathering out rapidly.
Can I smart
Can I
the
take that
out of their
data away
hands?
from him with
Oh, we
my
both
mage
have the
hand?
same idea. Good.
All right, let's see. Who tried to get there first?
So, no, don't.
Each
I
one of
mean,
you.
okay, how are you doing it, bro?
Just smacking it.
You're physically going for it? Okay, I was gonna use mage hand.
I don't have that, though.
Because I can't reach at a distance. So can I give maybe Ro advantage on there?
Oh, advantage
I'll
on smack.
say you can have advantage because you might not be able to necessarily. Yeah, you know what? Because two things are trying to smack it at once. So I'm going to make him make a dex saving throw against your dex, Ro.
Dex check or dex save from me.
You give me a. Would it be
No,
acrobatics?
that's for full body stuff, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Unless
it's
we're
just.
talking sleight of hand, but, it's the same modifier anyway for me.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Well, then let's just go with a flat dex since it's the same modifier.
Yeah, not proficient in that sort of thing.
Advantage.
Yep, with advantage.
Advantage. No!
He keeps the data pad in his hand and clutches it against his chest.
How
dare you!
But, how dare you? What are you doing?
What? This is mine!
Sion's just very confused and overwhelmed and just...
You just tried to smack his cell phone out of his hand.
Are we doing this? Okay. Out of character.
Hey, this is not the time to attack each other. We are civilized people. As I walk around this way.
To the lycanthrope.
We are not going to attack each other. We know that this is not the creature that we want here, but he is here, so we might as well hear what he has to say.
Well, we've heard what he has to say. He's just taken command of everything, as they usually do, without asking.
Come on, Chancellor. And I, as I'm looking at him, I, without any verbal components at all, cast blindness, deafness on him.
Oh, a con save. Okay.
And it's the blinded condition that I'm going for.
I feel like we have to roll. Do we roll initiative yet? Like, what?
I think at
Oh,
this
shoot.
point we are going to roll initiative. Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any chance I can get my actual spell off that I was potentially prepping to be doing?
It depends what spell. And does it require
I
verbal
was-
or?
It's a verbal and somatic spell. I was gonna conjure 2 fire snakes,
That one will have
and
to wait until
have
your turn.
them wrap him.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, it was a 19 and then it went down to a 1.
Oh, the
So it's
cruelty.
that.
I don't know why its name is that.
Who the fuck is Diffgifid?
You!
That's High Chancellor's name, Diffgifid.
You, Chancellor! Oh, I still get to go first! Booyah! Take that!
Nice.
Diffgifid Chancellor.
Okay.
Alright, Sithra, it is your turn first.
Okay, so because I have magical ambush, the creature is going
Oh,
to have
I'm so
disadvantage on
sorry. I
any
never
saving
made that
throws.
con save. Hold on.
Oh, right. I just assumed they were blinded.
Oh, they are now. Yeah.
Yeah, blinded. Great. So, since I have magical ambush, I'm technically hidden from this creature when I cast a spell on it. So, this creature has disadvantage on any saving throws it makes against any spells that I'm going to cast. I don't know if there's going to be a saving throw per se, but what I want to cast is conjure minor elementals. I am going to conjure 2 fire snakes. They are both challenge rating 1, so I can conjure 2 of them. And I would like the fire snakes to grapple the High Chancellor with their heated bodies, such that when a creature is touching the snake or hits it with a melee attack, while within 5 feet of it, it's going to take a d6 of fire damage.
Oh my, okay. You'll need to remind me of those d6 fire damage, but yes, I can do that.
Yes.
Oh, come on, I can't change the color into something red for the fire snakes? One would think. Oh, yes, I can. Yay. There's your fire snake. It's just a red circle, but hey.
Cool.
Are you going to use any of your movement?
And then I am going to take the dodge action with my bonus action, just in case. And I will use my movement to go stand on the other side of my chair so that I can get weaponry handed to me by my entourage.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, you have a dozen people. Sure. One of them has your
Yes.
weapons.
Awesome. I will get my weapons back. And that'll be the end of my turn.
All right. Yelena is mortified that there's battle happening.
Should my fire snakes roll to do initiative, or should they just go on my turn to grapple?
They'll go at the end of your turn, so how about they go now?
Okay. So you need them to make a grapple check?
Yes, please.
Alright. Let me see. They have damage, senses, language, challenge. Nope.
Bear in mind, your
Okay.
telepathic bond is still active, so if anyone wants to do any strategy tactics, then
Yes. Alright, I think this is just gonna be d20s plus 1. I'll do one for each. First one, d20 plus 1. Grapple. Shit.
That snake slithered through its feathers, and it is now sadly ungrappled by that one. But the other one's still got a
But this-
hold.
Alright, and if he gets a hold of him, I think that means that the fire body touch will come into play, and so it's going to take 5 fire damage because the fire snake is touching him.
Fire snake touch no likey.
And he is now grappled
And he is grappled by the fire snake. Okay, and blind.
and blind. We're fucking this guy up. He's gonna be so bad to us. This is not gonna go good. But that is the end of my turn. I'm getting weaponed.
Okay. Yelena's horrified. She's not doing anything. Odessa is watching you, Sister. Now, the High Chancellor, what they're going to attempt to do, so they are grappled, I understand, and blind. Are there any other
Yeah.
conditions you've imposed upon them, either one of you two?
I'm going to use a reaction to cast Halo Spores.
Oh.
Or not Halo Spores, but second level surrounded by. It's a reaction. So yeah, so I'm going to cast Halo Spores on
Okay.
Chancellor as a reaction.
Second level, you're surrounded by
So it's a D10
I
of
get a D10 unless
necrotic damage.
but
Ooh.
he can make a con save against it.
a con save. Okay.
And I don't think he still has disadvantage. I don't know.
Well,
Nope.
that's a fail regardless, I believe. For max damage. Very nice. And that was your reaction, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, thank you for the magical or the mathematical correction. I apparently can't add. I'm too gay for math. I'm sorry. I should have read up more on my spells because I sincerely did not expect that, you know, whatever. But we're going to try and do this.
We ran away from your last big bad guy. We decided not to be so mean this time.
Yeah, that's all right. We're going to try and cause a firestorm.
Fire starter.
Justin Firestarter.
10-foot cubes, which you arrange.
Oh, 10-foot cube. No.
Yep, so I need Dina and Grigor to make dexterity saving throws, please.
Yeah, we got a lot of cubes. Just so you know.
Yes, I
What?
know.
You have 10-foot cubes.
Yep, I need to place more cubes because they only gave me 4.
They only gave you. I need 6 more cubes.
GM,
Yeah.
my foundry has been playing up, and I had to like close it and reopen it, and it's still loading. So I don't know if you could make a dex save for me.
Yes,
I can't do anything at the moment.
I can.
Thank you so much.
So actually, yeah, I will need everybody to make a dex save because I can get everyone in here.
They need to technically be connecting, but I think you can still get everybody anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. There we go.
Okay.
Well, since I took the dodge action, taking the dodge action is going to give me advantage on my dexterity save. This is something I just found out about, so I'm very glad to know this.
Dodge is a beautiful thing.
Ooh. Maybe I have that. I know we're with 20, but like 11 modifier on dex is what?
I know. Eventually, I'll, get everything rolled that I need to roll.
Question, that spell doesn't say that they need to be able to see the creature, right?
I don't believe so. I will double check.
No, it just says a location you choose within range. It doesn't say you have to be able to see.
Okay, good. And who else needed to make one? Lady
Everybody.
Odessa. Oh, I know. I meant that I needed to roll.
Oh, okay. Wow!
Oh, jeez. Okay, Odessa. Just kick ass.
Odessa's also tiefling, so should have fire resistance,
Yep.
right? Odessa's gonna be fine.
So who passed? Who failed? We have it was 19.
I failed.
Sithsara passed. Yelena passed. Minerva passed, and Odessa passed.
Oh god.
Those who passed only take half damage. Those who failed take 36 damage.
So, as an evasion, when I am subjected to an effect that makes a dexterity saving throw and I take half damage, I instead take no damage when I succeed on the saving throw.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead and roll your throw.
Take no damage.
Yep, take no damage. 18. Oh god, small
I
math.
coil my tail around me, just like very barely on the edge of the flames, like doing a coil up dodge, like oh god, so close.
And Grigor, oh, you failed also, so you took the full 36. Oh god, math. My arch enemy! Alright. Was that everybody? Nope, Lady Odessa. Nope, she
Did I
passed.
fail as well? How much damage was taken, sorry?
Yes, you did, and it's 36 points of fire damage.
I don't know, GM, if this is something you knew, but in the character sheet where the hit points are, if you just click it once so that it highlights the number, and then you type in minus 36 and hit enter, it does the math for you.
That's beautiful, and I will do that from now on. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate that. And that's the High Chancellor's turn. Grigor, my largest son, it is your turn. And you are now a lycanthrope.
Okay, with my bonus actions, maybe seems a bit redundant because I'm a giant freaking werewolf, but can I go into a rage?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, now that I'm in a rage, can I do a reckless attack as the first of my 2 attacks?
Indeed, yes, you can. Move you like right there.
Oh yeah, I'm still having trouble with my foundry, like the entire laptop is frozen.
Oh,
So could you do
okay. Yeah, I can do your attack.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Poor
Rage.
janitor, yeah. Good point, Jay.
And what are you going to reckless attack with? Your laser sword?
Yeah, freaking werewolf with a laser sword, why not?
Sure. It's that, your battle fist, or your bare hand. Whatever you want.
Okay, I think I'll two-hand the laser sword
Okay.
as a 10-foot tall lycanthrope.
Then you sure as hell do.
You have advantage because it's grappled. I'm
And
helping!
and because he attacked with advantage to start with. Oh my god. Okay,
Oh no!
is there such a thing as double advantage? It's because you're not used to being so massive. It's actually because you're like over twice your height, so you just swing over the damn thing's head.
What's funny is that so he has advantage because he's reckless attacking. He has advantage because the Chancellor is grappled by my snake, and he has advantage because the Chancellor is blind by an Indina and still managed to miss.
Is it grappled or is it restrained?
Is grappled.
I don't think grapple gives advantage.
I thought grapple gives
Restrained
advantage. Does it not?
The restrained does, but grapple doesn't. I don't think it just makes the speed 0.
My first attack roll in a proper D&D campaign is just such a crushing miss.
But it was as a
Okay.
massive lycanthrope with a laser sword, so it was still badass.
Yeah. Visually stunning, practically ineffective.
Ro, it is your turn.
Right, so,
You only get one attack.
Mm,
Oh
right.
no, I do get a second attack.
I was just gonna say, yep.
Oh yeah, extra attack, fun times.
Then yeah, can I just do like a normal attack then
You may.
with my laser sword?
You still get
Advantage
advantage
still,
because it's
yeah.
blinded.
Yep, and still advantage with your laser sword.
Lasers.
Oh my
What's
god.
funny?
I don't think that hits. No, it doesn't. You
This is
keep hitting through the feathers this time.
Do we have a guard?
You go to stab through the wings, but the feathers move away from your blade.
there's just like this viscous gunk stuff that's covering him as he's growing. It's still kind of like dripping into his eyes, and then through like the telepathic link, you can just hear, "Fuck's sake, fuck's sake, fuck's sake." You're meant to look cool.
Now, Ro, it's your turn.
Right, yes. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna use my movement first.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
So I'm gonna go all the way over fucking just get away. And then for my action, using the telepathic bond that I cast earlier, which isn't concentration, so I can't cast the spell. I'm gonna I'm going to shut them up. No spells for you. And I'm going to cast silence on over the Chancellor.
Ooh, okay.
Specifically there, so everyone can cast spells but them that require verbal components.
Beautifully
Nice.
done. Excellent.
No verbal components for you, Gur. And then for my bonus action, I'm gonna do a heal on a mass healing word. I'm gonna upcast it some extra. There we go. I'm not a life cleric, so I don't have the features that I normally have as a life cleric. But healing 16 healing to everyone, all the players who are hurt,
Everyone but me.
basically, including myself.
Oh, nice. It does it on the side module, too. Beautiful. 16, you said?
Yes.
Oh, did I take full damage from the fire stuff because I wasn't in a rage yet?
You took full damage, but you were just healed for 16 of it, which I believe got you back up.
Okay, nice one. Thank you.
Is that your turn?
Yes, it is.
Alrighty. Minerva's not going to do anything. She's freaking out. Dina, it is your turn. They're probably just scuttling over
Freaking out
this
is a
way.
very valid turn action.
Yeah. Empress
Sorry.
Undina, it is your turn.
Sorry.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do. I'm gonna first just cast symbiotic entity and give myself a bunch of temp hit points.
Okay.
And then I guess with my bonus action, how do I feel about this Chancellor? Do I feel like he's gonna be a pain?
I don't know what you feel, but there is a bird trying to set all of you on fire that you are all grappling? That's how you feel right now. That's what's happening.
All right. Then I'll just use my bonus action to hold out my hand, and I will make a flame blade in
Okay.
my hand,
I think
ready
you can use
to
it.
attack.
You can use it on your first summons, can't you?
I have to use an action. I've already used my action to turn into a symbiotic entity.
Oh, yep. As an action, you expend a use of your wild shape feature. Yep.
Okay.
4 temp HP. Oh, wow. Okay, so you just gained a whole hell of a lot of temp HP.
Yes, I have 80 temporary hit points.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Okay, and you're holding a fiery blade. Beautiful. Is
Yep.
that your turn?
That's my turn.
Excellent. Sithra.
There's so much fire happening right now.
So much.
Okay, so I'm going to wait, hang on, I forgot to check my distance. Yeah, I'm going to take my sword from one of my attendants, and I'm going to slither over the table and over to this bird, and if that's okay.
Mhm.
Okay, and then I'm going to attack it
Go for it.
because it is going to let me get my sneak attack damage in. So I'm going to use my laser half sword. I don't do weapons attack. Normal. Is this how I'm doing this right?
Yeah, you're doing it right.
Oh wait, nope. I should have. Sorry,
No, that was an
done
attack
it with
roll.
advantage.
Oh, yep. Then just
I
roll
should have
twice.
done it with advantage. Oh fuck.
Well, it misses.
All right. Do I have extra attack?
Did you come over here into the bubble of silence, by the way?
No, I wanted to stand like here
Okay.
in front of him.
That is where the bubble of silence
Yeah.
is.
You'd have to be like over here, maybe.
Okay. I have 35 feet of movement. I can get there, I think. I
Yeah, you'll be fine.
extra attack. I don't think I have extra attack. I don't. Well,
Nope, not as a rogue.
all right. So I'll just cunning action dodge for my bonus action, and I've used my movement, so I'm good. I will telepathically say, Odessa, this is important. We need to take the Chancellor down so that we can contain them. Your forces are in danger.
An intelligent plea. Is that your turn?
That's my turn. I said it telepathically.
Yeah. Hopefully. Just a turn for the strange, talking out loud now. It is Yelena's turn, and she is not moved by your plea, but when it comes to be Odessa's turn, she does seem to be, but she stands up nonetheless, a little bit wary, nonetheless moved, and casts, let's see, she doesn't really have a casting situation. She will try and stab him in the back. Quite literally.
Advantage.
Yep, and gets sneak attack. With her rapier. Oh, and that actually hits. Yahoo. Oh, Jesus. That's right.
So
I
many
wanted
dice.
to do that.
35
I do
plus
that.
plus 12. 42 damage. So you see her walk up behind the High Chancellor and just stick her rapier right into its spine, causing massive damage. And this poor creature lets out a shrill cry.
Oh, I forgot. I have 2 fire snakes.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Okay, so the one is going to continue to grapple, I guess.
Mhm.
Actually, no. Grappling is only holding him in place. Well, no, okay. One fire snake will keep his speed at 0. It'll continue to grapple him. The other one, however, has 2 attacks. It gets to make 1 bite and 1 tail. They're each a +3 to hit, so I'm going to roll those. Here we go. Roll d20 +3. Bite. Oh, I guess this would technically be at advantage.
All right, that hits.
So this is for the advantage. Did not roll a 20, but it does hit. So that is going to do a d4 +1 piercing and a d6 fire. D4 +1, d6 fire. Okay, so 5 damage for that one. And then 2d20, keep highest, 1 +3. I hope this works. So this will be for the tail. 18.
18 is a meat, so yes, that hits.
That hits. All right. And then a for piercing D6 fire. And then a 7 damage.
All right.
My snakes are doing better than I am. That's sad.
But they are keeping together this crumbling figure as it is doing very poorly. Very, very poorly. And that is Odessa's turn. The High Chancellor is going to try and break out of the grapples currently holding it.
Okay.
Which one would it even try to break first?
So the snake, I think, is the only one grappling it.
Okay, so would it be contested strength?
I think so.
Okay.
So I'd roll d20 plus strength for my grapple check. Oh, that didn't go well.
Ooh, it didn't go well for either one of us, but he manages
He's
to
still
get
alive.
away from the snake.
Oh wait, that snake was touching him. So would he take the d6 heated body fire damage from that snake?
Yes,
Okay, I'll roll that really fast.
please
I'm
do.
sorry. I don't normally conjure creatures because this is a problem.
No, you're fine.
Okay, here
You're
we go.
fine.
I'm good.
I gave you the toys to play with. I wanted you to play with them.
So 5 fire damage from the snake. He's now not grappled. So he has his movement now.
So he kicks your snake off to the floor and tries to run away from you all, which would give you an attack of opportunity.
As he does that, I'm gonna
Oh.
attack with my sentinel feet, and then he's not gonna be able to walk away.
Yeah, so he's trying to get away, but is going to get the shit kicked out of him. But that's what is attempting to
He's still
happen.
blinded, right?
Yes,
So we still have advantage.
but can feel swords from one side, so I guess he's gonna go to the other. Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah,
Do I get
so he's actually gonna
attack
have a speed of
opportunity?
0 with this crit hit that I just did.
Yes, yes, indeed, I think so. Nope,
Shit, do I still not hit? Fuck.
that hits him, but that doesn't take him to 0.
16? Does a 16 hit?
No.
That wasn't damage.
Oh,
No.
Sorry.
I thought that was
Yeah,
damage.
no, the 16 was my hit, not the damage.
Would Grigor's opportunity attack get advantage or not?
I mean, he's blind and silenced and not grappled, but yes, I think he has an advantage.
Blinding.
Oh, what the hell are the odds?
So he's gonna be.
Yeah.
What?
Why is there a train?
What?
That was weird.
I,
Wow.
I've never seen that happen.
I just put on a random effect that looked kind of cool. It's called Tormund's.
Is that
Standard
Tormund's
V2
advantage?
dosage.
So I'm also gonna be critting on that symbiotic.
Oh wait, that's not the right damage roll.
Piece.
No, it should be a 1d8.
Yeah, and
Oh.
also, you have features, don't you? Yeah. Right.
Real quick,
Critical! Wow, barbarian shit. So,
So
There
the
you go.
25, yep. 25 was damage, correct?
It's 25 damage was for the sentinel thing.
Okay.
that's the damage dice for Callum.
Oh, Jesus. So you
'Cause
see
he's got brutal critical.
you see the High Chancellor trying desperately to get out of his chair and then stop moving and go slack in his seat.
I'm going to grab his datapad.
Okay. And we're
And-
out of initiative, so if you would like to
I can
move
cast
out of your
Healing
turn.
Word on the Chancellor.
Okay. Then you
But we should
Time
tie him
up
up
first.
first.
Yeah, we'll time up first.
okay. I was
Yeah,
like,
I think telepathically, Cesar will say, tie him up. I will try to change his forces. And I'm gonna grab the data pad and see if I can like find out what he was doing and or maybe stop what he was doing and or maybe call back the troops that he has headed towards the turtle?
Okay, you grab the data pad, and the first thing you see is that it is password protected.
Try High Chancellor 69.
I mean, these things
He
are
was just
they're touch activated though, so when you put, you know, a digit over them, it'll open up, but they're currently passed out and unable to do so.
Just
well then I will put his digit over it while somebody is tying him up.
There you go. Then it opens
Cool.
up for you. The last messages that were sent were an SOS message as well as expedite Plan Alpha for Poseidon, which Scion wrote, that is your home planet's name.
no.
I'm going to telepathically tell Ro to get over here. I'm going to type in cancel SOS, all handled.
Okay.
Wait for further instructions.
Await further instructions. And then I'm going to see if I can access. I know I just called Ro over, but I'm going to change the screen. I'm going to see if I can access the ships that are going to the turtle.
Yeah, absolutely can. You see that they sent 3 Holy Eva Ra sunships over to the Holy Aoa turtle, or they're calling it a holy turtle. Evidently, they think it's an holy artifact, according to what you're seeing.
Uh-huh. I will telepathically ask the group, how do we stop them?
It's the area.
Suggestions?
Well, you know, we have just slain, kind of slain the High Chancellor, sort of, but considering their infrastructure, again, another human idiom I picked up, cutting off the head of a hydra, as it were. I reckon maybe.
I stopped the SOS. You're fine.
Well, how are we
Well,
going to find out
except
eventually
you,
if the
Ro.
Chancellor doesn't come? What?
I'm going to see if I can go back to the message about accelerating Poseidon, and I'm going to send it to Ro's data pad.
Yeah, you can absolutely send that message. And
Okay.
Ro, you see a message come forward. It looks as though it's been sent by the High Chancellor. It says, accelerate alpha plans for Planet Nautilid, Planet Poseidon.
What do these plans entail? Can I see?
The text message just says alpha plan, but you can try and search the data pad if you want to see what that's
I would
referring
like
to.
I would very
That's
much
fine.
like to.
I'm
Roll me
trying to stuff. Okay.
information check.
I don't have. A
Oh,
Scion I don't have.
it's intelligence plus what would be your modifier? Just roll me straight intelligence then.
Will it be intelligence with our proficiency of +6?
Yes. Okay. So add your proficiency.
Well, 9 plus 6, 15. But,
Okay, so you don't find any, Word documents labeled Plan Alpha, but from what you can see, the Ava Ra have been watching Poseidon for a while, and they have a ship that you hadn't noticed previously inside the space between Aldenval and Poseidon. It's right on the line between the Elven Empire and your empire. It probably went unnoticed by Yelena because she's kind of had a lot of shit on her plate right now with a dead husband. So, yeah, but there is an Ava Ra ship just kind of hanging out by Poseidon that you hadn't noticed.
Okay, right. Can I access the timestamps of these files? How long's that ship been there?
You can, and that ship has been there for a couple of months, actually. It looks like there has been some sort of plot.
Scion is angry now. Telepathically, just. Well, regardless of what the ships around my planet for, they have yet to extend any sort of communications, which suggests that this is underhanded tactics. What on earth they'd want with Poseidon, I have no idea, other than for underhanded tactics.
We can ask the source, and so with the tied up Chancellor, I cast the healing word.
All right, you cast Healing Word, and he returns to life. Not necessarily consciousness, but life.
Well, no, it does make them conscious, doesn't it?
Does it? Okay, cool. He's conscious then. Just gasped.
What is the meaning of this attack on Poseidon?
I'll tell you nothing.
I use Halo of Spores to kill him again.
Um, considering, well, they're still in silence, but I think that's gone off. No, that's like 10 minutes. Silence is 10
Drop
minutes. Yeah, I'll drop it. And may I cast Zone of Truth in its place?
Oh, yes, you can.
One
I'll
second.
also drop
I
my
killed him
snake.
again, by the way.
They're dead again.
Well, the Zone of Truth lasts for 10 minutes, so that's fine. We can revive him.
And then I will bring him back to life.
Actually, I'll leave my snakes there to help with intimidation checks for anybody who's going to be making them.
Well,
Guys,
all this
back
is
to life again.
happening. Grigor is just in the background, still in lycanthrope form, is just pacing back and forward. And if the telepathy thing is still active, you can just hear so fucking cool, so fucking cool. You've been saving that amulet for ages now. You've had it saved up. You've been dying to use it. Fair enough. You've almost slipped it on a couple times in just basic bar fight, but this was way cooler. This was so fucking cool.
Yeah, Sithra will telepathically just kind of like over his shoulder telepathically be like, very cool. Anyway, Sithra is going to see if they can't find they want to get Odessa to help, maybe, but see if they can't find a way to make the ships that are going for the turtles stop doing that.
Ah,
Is there, by chance, maybe forces of my own ambition that I might have in that region around the turtle, around Martax, or in the
being
vicinity of any region?
being who you are, and the fact that Sithra is not entirely prone to 100% obeying the rules of where and when he's supposed to be, I'd say that you might have something circling Martax that you could send in that direction. They might
I
not
will
arrive
very subtly,
immediately.
yeah, I will subtly on my own pad, stealthily, trying not to let anybody else necessarily see or realize, have orders sent to that small contingency to begin intercepting, with the understanding that they have 3 Ava ships that they're going up against, so they need to be incredibly careful about how they intercept. In regards to, I want them to fucking kill them, but don't die.
Got it. Okay. You can
So I
transmit
want to
that
do that very
message.
stealthily so that nobody else
Oh.
sees me do this.
May I also contact my own judiciaries and such to kind of alert them that, hey, there's aviar ships right in Poseidon apparently that we didn't know about. Maybe check that out and make sure that there's defences up.
Yes, you may. And Sithra, since everybody's quite distracted by the current events, I'm going to say you go ahead and perform your duties on your datapad without notice.
Thank you. I will, however, then get Odessa to come over and start conferring since they are, well, I would also have Nandina in this, but Nandina seems occupied. So I will see if I can get Odessa to help with, like, what do you have as forces in the region? Can you get your people off the planet to be able to face the Avara that are coming, like, strategy? A way to push back.
Odessa will acquiesce, and she seems a lot somehow more welcome or open to working with you now that you've done what you've done to the High Chancellor, and seems sort of bonded now that you've done this together, you're in it, and something needs to be done. So, yeah, she'll get her forces together, and you can sort of sit off to the side having a conversation about who's going to send what where and how best to get towards Aoa while I assume that Ro wanted to interrogate our friend, the High Chancellor, about Poseidon.
Oh, definitely.
And Dina was
And Dina as well, yes.
right in their face too. I am going to keep the fire snakes up so you can get intimidation check advantage.
Cool. Awesome.
Does anyone have a modifier for intimidation higher than +3? I'm guessing someone does.
I have +3 as well.
Okay, it doesn't really make any difference then.
My charisma is +4.
Wahaha. All right.
Wait,
So
so is Ro the most intimidating one amongst us?
Would be fun, wouldn't it?
Would I get... Oh no, you only get an advantage because of the fire snakes anyway, never mind.
Look, life and death, they seem so permanent, but as you can see, I can kill you and bring you back many times over. You might as well start talking, or this could take a very, very long time. And I pull out one of his feathers.
you see the Arakaka squirm under your grip, but seems determined to keep his beak sealed shut.
What are you doing on my planet? What are your plans with Poseidon?
Poseidon will fall.
Well, I hope you have any idea of what defenses we have on the planet, because whatever your recon's been telling you we will certainly have more. You think you're able to scope out all the defenses we have? You think you'll be able to take out our planet so easily?
Nothing will stand against the sepulchre star.
Well, we managed to take you down pretty easily.
I am one. We are many.
You're not as many as all of us.
We are everyone.
Can Grigor get his staff to signal the ships again to try and move them between the borders of the Vira and Poseidon and try and almost create like a blockade between or just try and help in general with like the defense of Poseidon.
Yes. And Scion Row, you see incoming from transmissions from your team saying reports that the ships, the Avara ships, that they have been found and they are now fleeing your airspace.
All right, I'll take a step aside to respond to them, but tell them to very much keep their lookout, keep their guard up, and make sure that plans are in place in case they return.
We are so many.
And the Avara is going to point towards the center of the table where you all see the hollow sphere spinning and circling. It still looks like High Terra, actually, from when you had changed it over at the beginning of the meeting.
I'm going to glance over at Lady Odessa, since, this is kind of the planet they're here to represent. Humans are her thing.
And Lady Odessa, deep in the thralls of conversation with Lord Skithazar, doesn't even notice at first, and then looks up and looks at you. Surely you do not think that... Scion, I have no involvement with this plot involving Poseidon.
Telepathically, I'm going to say, I'm not accusing you. I'm trying to see if you're aware of any of this. This involves you.
It does not. I do not know what the traitor speaks of, but my people are not involved.
Worships. It is the worships. Telepathically, still, I'm going to be saying, it is the followers and believers that infiltrate your planets and civilizations. I don't allow such things quite so well in my space. But those who have, and I will kind of glance at Odessa, will be weakened by it.
You suggest my tolerance for these people has led to a weakness?
Kind of shrug and go back to the data pad, but then telepathically, as an aside, will also be. I also don't think Odessa is the traitor here. And I'll glance over. I'll kind of like hold eyes to Minerva in a
Oh.
way so everybody can kind of see.
Yeah.
Not saying, but I'm holding eyes.
Empress Nadina, still telepathically. Pull another feather out. Make it 3.
Minerva's tail swishes back and forth anxiously. The Arakaka squawks as you pull feathers out and cries out in pain, but refuses to speak, at least unprompted.
Okay, Grigor kind of comes out of his little kind of self-back potting that was going on in the corner. He's pacing back and forth and he's going to congratulate himself on being like an awesome fucking dude. And kind of turns around and says, can I be of use?
Ah! Oh, I forgot you looked like that. Maybe.
What do I need to shout at?
So I was just going to point at the High Chancellor, but kind of glance around at everyone else, because it seems like eyes are maybe turning on Minerva. So.
The High Chancellor looks at you all and then looks to you, Ro. Show me Poseidon.
Why? What should I? What do you want with it? What are you going to do?
I will do nothing. I only wish to see your face.
Well, that's the last thing I'm going to do, because why on earth would I want to give you satisfaction after all the uppity rebellion and treachery you've pulled?
You do not wish to say goodbye.
I'm not saying goodbye to anything. What are you talking about?
It's too late.
Speak clearly. Stop with all this cryptic language. Stop being an uppity little tart. And just speak clearly.
Poseidon will be destroyed within the hour, and you cannot stop it.
Instant text to begin a mass evacuation of Poseidon to whoever is relevant.
You send your text. People are freaking out to hear it on the other side from you, but they agree, and immediately you get word that everybody is being evacuated as quickly as possible. But as the leader of this planet, you know that it is not going to be possible to save even remotely close to everyone in an hour.
How important do we know the High Chancellor is to his people?
Oh, quite important.
We should get the word out with that notepad to them
What word?
that we have him and that he is not long for this universe if
Ransom,
they don't
ransom,
stop their advancement.
ransom.
Money.
Ransom the High Chancellor for the safety of Poseidon.
I feel like taking like a selfie with like the bloodied like sending that
Yes,
on the tablet.
We will give Chancellor if you give Poseidon safety.
Okay, who are you sending this to?
Mass text? Just everyone?
Everyone.
Well, we're gonna send it to the leaders of the AVRL, whoever's getting
The
the
team of
info
people
from
that probably is equivalent to your team of people?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do know that the High Chancellor does have, like you do, systems and teams of people working on other things and other projects. You can certainly text them.
So, as everybody is kind of interrogating the High Chancellor, and he has finally started talking, and all of this is transpiring, I would like to cast Detect Thoughts. And what I'm hoping for is that I will be telepathically connecting my mind to the Chancellor. And since I'm telepathically connected to everyone else, this will extend the Detect Thoughts information to everyone else.
So anything that you detect from the Chancellor automatically goes to everyone else also?
Yes, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Makes sense.
Okay. So my first thing will be that I can detect the presence, the surface thoughts of the creature, what they are currently thinking on, and considering the conversation's topic, I would imagine they might be currently thinking on who is in charge of the things that are about to begin happening.
They're actually thinking very unflattering things about Rowan and Dina, of a personal and specific vindictive nature. Also, they're quite amused and laughing. They seem very entertained about Rose's distress over Poseidon. But they are
But they were
actually
also talking.
concerned. Yeah, they don't seem concerned. Like, if any one of you were in this position, you would be calling on a team of people to come, help you. You've been captured by, evidently, assailants that clearly want you dead. It does not seem like they have any concern for getting out of this situation or leaving this conversation alive. It does not seem like they're upset by that.
Is there any way we can make them cancel the plans?
That'll require me probing deeper into the creature's thoughts, since their surface thoughts apparently do not contain any information that will help us. So as an action, I can shift um, to attempt to probe deeper into that creature's mind. They have to make a saving throw of some kind. What is it?
Wisdom. Let's see if they do make that.
Creature, make an intelligence check contested by my intelligence check.
Oh, they failed that DC to go further in the thoughts.
Wisdom save. Yeah.
So when you probe deeper into their thoughts, you can see the outline for Poseidon Plan Alpha, and you see that it's not anything to do with ships at all, but an experimental weapon that can be launched on the ground of any planet and does not need a massive amount of people to move. It's a single, um, how to describe it? It is a single instance entity which, when activated, engulfs a distance around it. And that is what has been placed on planet Poseidon.
Is this distance planetary in scale?
Yes.
Wait, right, is this still being broadcast to everyone
Yes.
else?
Yeah.
If this is on my planet, can it be found and can it be disarmed?
You can
Is
try.
that something that the information in the High Chancellor's head is able to be found and disseminated? Is that information that they have?
It might.
Does that need a new saving throw in order to find out about it?
I don't know if we're going to find out about it, but maybe someday. Someday we'll find the remnants of this situation and what has happened and what's become of the High Chancellor. But I think we're actually going to end stream here today.
No, you can't do this!
I must do this.
Igor hasn't gotten angry at enough people yet.
I pull out one more feather.
Minerva, I think that she's a traitor.
Thank you so much for playing today. I hope sometime maybe we can return to the situation, or you might see later in the future the results in other ways, even if we don't see these characters moving again.
Oh, I don't like how Skithar is being overshadowed by the Aviaraz wing there.
Hey,
That's a bit rude.
I need to have my shiny boy very present here. Go away.
Thank you guys so much for playing. I appreciate it so much. So, if you are, for our guests here today, usually at the end of our shows, what we do is go around and everybody says a little bit about themselves. I usually pick on one of the two that are here, but I won't pick on a newbie today. So, Katie, you get to show them how it's done.
Um, oh, now you put me on the spot, and now my brother's judging me. Yeah, I'm Katie Beldy. I do music a lot of the time. Katie Building Music on YouTube, same as it's spelled on the screen. It's also where any original tracks I've made for the other picking sessions will be. Um, and I'm also on a whole bunch of other socials under Katie Beldy, Instagram, Twitter, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And she's just generally amazing, also. Go follow her.
Thank you.
Evie today played Sithazar for us.
Yes, this is very fun. You can find me as EV Story on most social media places. I will eventually maybe make progress once my life stops being quite so in shambles. On actually running streams of my own, I really enjoy TTRPGs and the storytelling aspect therein. And today has been an absolute wonderful car ride. Thank you so much to Void Egg. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so
Thank you,
glad you
GM.
liked
Also,
it.
I hate you for this cliffhanger.
Yeah, I've already gotten attached. Like, I'm invested already.
Right? Oh my god, you guys. I was doing so much trickery. I was gonna get Indina to leave their territory and allow my forces to have traverse ability through her territory and fucking take over while I had her off in Minerva's land.
Oh, I knew that that's what you were doing. That's why I didn't go through it. You were not being very sneaky.
I'm gonna try and push into like the Scathari war zone and like take over territory using the forces of the Ava, but that didn't really pan out. That didn't go story wise.
No, the Eva are just our common enemy now.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys did so amazing. Thank you so much for oh, Kate's brother, Grigor, my largest son. He was Calum. Well, I always say your name wrong. I'm so sorry. Callum. I'm American and we suck at so many things, accents being one of them. But if you have anything to pimp, please feel free.
My sister? No.
There you go.
Um,
Katie Beldy Music. 1% goes to Grigor.
I'm Colin White Wilkin on all social medias. That's White with a Y and Wilkin with an E. Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. I don't have a YouTube account or anything. I do a whole lot of nothing. Mostly just eat and
Mood.
Can confirm, but he does it well.
And entertainingly. Would anybody have guessed that this was our dear friend's first foray into D&D tonight?
No, he did a very good job.
Right?
Very good job.
Amazing.
Oh, thank you guys.
And
Thank you.
last but not least, Prof. Sherman, my good friend, Jakob.
Yeah, I don't have anything like social media to promote, but if anyone is in need of academic tutoring, I am a master at physics, chemistry, organic chemistry, and calculus, and I have my own tutoring gig at jacobtutoring9@gmail.com.
He's low-key a genius and also excellent at D&D and makes a hell of a cocktail. So,
Cute bug emotes as well, which none of the viewers got to see.
yeah. Hell yeah.
What happens?
Oh, the cute bug emotes.
Oh, yeah.
Someday, we'll leak cute bug emotes. St. Hills is usually here and would have been our Minerva, but unfortunately they were pulled away this evening. They're totally fine. It was just real life got in the way.
God damn it, life.
Yeah. Oh, I guess last but not least, I'm Void Egg. I'm the GM. I make the crazy things, a lot of them that happen. Basically, if Katie Beldy didn't make it, then I probably did. And yeah, stuff comes out of my brain, and these wonderful people are beautiful enough to roll with it and make it great.
Big ups to Carl for Emotionator version 2, though.
Yes, thank you, Carl, my dear friend, our wonderful Canadian bearded DM, who is very responsible for me being a DM in the first place. He recently revamped our Emotionator, which allowed us to include the emotions you saw in the extra characters today, and in the future, you will see our beloved cast when they return with their usual emotions on Emotionator 2.0, now friendly on the Mac.
Yay! Purely for my usage, because I'm the only one that uses them.
Because we love and value you, okay? Thank you all so much for being here today. I had an absolute blast playing, and I can't wait to see y'all again. Until next week.
Thank you for jamming. Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.